Hi, how are you? I'm Kenrick Thomas, the Director of Marketing and Communications for the United Way of St. Lucie County. Each month, we like to have our funded agencies to come on and talk about the organization and how they impact the community. Today, I have Carol Fiddis, the Chief Operating Officer, and also Walton Stoudenmire, the the Director of Residential Services for the Drug Abuse Treatment Association. How are you?
Doing well.
Fine.
Great, great. Thanks for coming on. I really appreciate it.
You're welcome.
Now, tell me about data and what services do you provide for the community?
Well, Drug Abuse Treatment Association, we've been in the community for over 35 years. Our mission is to provide quality, effective services for children, adolescents, families, and their families with substance abuse problems and or behavioral health problems. We also deal with juvenile delinquency. We provide services in the 5-county area: Palm Beach, Martin, St. Lucie, Okeechobee, and Indian River County. We provide services along the continuum of care. We do prevention, intervention in the community, school-based intervention, task, outpatient, residential, and some HIV services in the programs.
Wow, that's great. So tell me specifically, what programs do you provide in St. Lucie County?
Well, in St. Lucie County, we have prevention programs. We do an evidence-based program called Project Success, and we are in middle and high schools throughout the county. We also have an intervention program that deals with kids that are at risk or are struggling with substance use or behavioral health issues. We also have our outpatient program, and length of stay there is typically 14 weeks. We do evidence programming there also. We do ACRA, motivational interviewing, and cognitive behavior therapy. We also have our task program, which is the hub of the wheel. Any child that gets involved with the Department of Juvenile Justice, they have to do something called a PACT or a MAZE. If there's a hit on the PACT or the MAZE, then they're referred to our task program, and we do a thorough assessment where we assess for behavioral health, mental health issues, or substance use issues. If there's a presenting problem, then we'll make the link to the appropriate provider in the community. And then we also have our residential program, and Walton will tell you a little bit about that.
Yes, tell me about your residential program.
Well, we have two residential programs. One's located in Fort Pierce. The other's located in West Palm Beach. We both serve 20 clients at each facility. Our facility in West Palm Beach is co-ed. Our facility in Fort Pierce is males only. The program is designed to be 4 months. However, it could be longer depending on the needs of the youth. We have three major components of the program: behavioral, educational, and therapeutic. Our educational components are provided by the school in their district. In Fort Pierce, it's provided by the St. Lucie County Schools. In West Palm, it's provided by the Palm Beach County Schools. We are an alternative school, and it's very important that the clients continue with their education. So when a client comes into our program, they're definitely enrolled in school. And both facilities that the schools use a program called Edgenuity. And it's a very individualized educational program that seems to benefit the client's needs.
That's great. Now, how many clients can you serve in St. Lucie County?
We can serve 20 at one time.
20 at one time.
20 beds, correct.
Okay, so you're pretty full right now.
Correct. Yeah, we usually stay fairly full.
What is the what is the average length of time can someone stay at the location?
That's really dependent on the needs of the individual. We've had clients that needed to be there for 9 or 10 months, but we also had clients that can complete the program in 4 months. It really depends on the severity of their drug issues, their behavioral issues, their family issues. We try to we serve the whole child. When a client comes in, we do a biopsychosocial to identify the client's strengths and weaknesses, and we help the client take care of their weaknesses through utilizing their strengths.
That's great. Now, if someone's out there and they need to get involved, with your organization, how can they get involved?
Just simply give us a call at 561-743-1034. Most of our clients, we receive referrals about 3 different ways. Volunteers, who if the client and their guardians feel that they do have a significant substance use problem and the client's willing to come in, we would certainly, accommodate that. There's something called the Marchman Act. It's a civil order. We do get some referrals through that. The vast majority of our clients do come through the Department of Juvenile Justice or juvenile drug court, where it's part of their probation, where a client is really struggling to get off of drugs or alcohol, so they would be referred through the court system.
Great. Now, why is it important to have volunteers? Because that's very important in every organization.
Well, it's important to have volunteers because it just really helps the community. People are giving back to the community, and it really helps some of the clients when they see, volunteers coming in, just donating their time.
That's good. Now, how can someone pay for these services?
We use a sliding scale depending on the income of the family, the number of the people in the household. However, having said that, we would never refuse services for financial reasons.
Who are your funding resources?
Well, our funding resources, United Way of St. Lucie County, United Way of Martin County, and Indian River County, and the primary funder is Southeast Florida Behavioral Health Network.
Oh, great. That's really good.
And also the Palm Beach, United Way of Palm Beach.
United Way of Palm Beach as well?
Correct.
Okay, great. Now, tell me, how did you both get involved with this organization?
Well, previously I was working for a program with kids with behavioral issues, and I just thought it was time for a change. So I was really looking to work with children at risk, and I read a lot about data, and it seemed to be a very good organization. So about 22 years ago, I applied for a position, and I was offered the position, and I've been here ever since. It's a great organization to work for. Clients come first. That's just sort of what drives the organization is the clients.
That's really good to hear. What about you, Carol?
And the way I found out about data is I had worked for a diversion program, and the program had lost funding, and I knew a lot about data because we used to refer our clients to them. So I've always had a passion for helping people, and I had the opportunity. They were starting a evidence-based program called the Beta program. Well, at that time it wasn't evidence-based. We were working with the state to get the program to the level of fidelity, and that's how I came to data. And I've been here 18 years.
That's a long time as well. Now, how does it feel to go to work every day knowing that you work for an organization that has a huge impact on the community?
It feels rewarding. We have over 100 employees, and they're very passionate about what they do. And the client comes first. We're always making our decisions based on what's in the best interest of the child. And our employees, they have such a can-do attitude. So I'm very proud to be a part of this organization.
Okay, great. What about you, Walton?
Well, just seeing the change of the clients that they make. When the clients come to us, they're pretty much at rock bottom, most of them. I'm not doing very well in school at all. A lot of family problems, a lot of legal issues, just poor decision making. And to be able to see the clients, struggle at first, but then just the progress that they make. And then there's their self-esteem, it builds, the family relations build, they're just doing much better in school. So at the end of the day, when you see that type of stuff, it's just very rewarding.
Great. Why is this organization important for the people in this county?
Well, I think sometimes we're the last hope for some of the clients with substance abuse problems. We are one of the few publicly funded programs that do work with clients, especially with adolescents.
Great. Now, do you have any success stories that you can share?
Yeah, that probably the one I'm most proud of is several years ago we had 2 females, twins, and they came into our program, and their foster parents or adopted parents decided they couldn't put up with him anymore, so they kind of left him with us. And it was a very sad story with their family situation. But they ended up staying with us probably close to a year, and we helped them get into independent living. And that was, I must say, it was a community effort. But we took the lead in it, and we got them into into independent living. And they've really thrived. They're doing very well today. They're both of them are very successful, married, have children, and just leading a very good life.
Wow, that's really great. Now, explain your position to people. Like, what do you do on a day-to-day basis?
Well, my title is Director of Residential Services, and I do a lot of assessments with clients coming in. They've already been, residential is already on the table for them, and I just make sure that we're going to be an appropriate placement for them. In other words, that we can meet the needs of the child. And that's, and you just supervising resident managers, supervisors, the cook staff.
That's great. What about you, Carol? What do you do on a day-to-day basis when
On a
you go in?
day-to-day basis, as I mentioned before, we have several different programs, and it's spread from Palm Beach County all the way north to Indian River County. So I may visit a residential programs. We focus on providing good, solid activities for the youth. So I may talk to people in the community and see what they have to offer to bring. You mentioned volunteers, help look for volunteers for our program, deal with staff, helping to motivate them, also train. We do reports for United Way, apply for grants. That's a typical day.
That's good. That's really great. Now, is there a struggle to try and get people into the organization? Do you find it where people need the help, but they don't want to give you a call?
Constantly. Most of the clients that we serve, they don't feel they have a problem. It's more, they just don't see it. They're pretty deep into a lot of the drugs and the alcohol, and they're just very comfortable with that lifestyle. And so when most of them come in, they are in the stage of denial for sure. And it takes a little while for them to get to see that, well, yes, indeed, I do have a problem, and how it's affected their school, and their family, and their personal lives.
Great. Now, for one last time, how can someone get in contact with you?
They can call our administrative office in Jupiter at 561-743-1034, and we would certainly give them a call back and arrange for assessments or anything that we can do to help the family.
Great. I really thank you two for both coming on. This has been really a great opportunity, and I would love to have you back sometime in the future.
Well, thank you very much.
Great. Thank
Pleasure
you.
to be here.
Thank you so much. We'll be right back.
Don't worry, 74 people were picked before me in the NFL draft.
To fight childhood obesity, United Way and the NFL are helping kids play at least 60 minutes a day.
Okay, time for the team obstacle course. Yay!
What this place needs is more healthy kids. To get involved or donate, go to unitedway.org/play60.
Now I get it.
Welcome back. I'm Kenrick Thomas, the Director of Marketing and Communications for the United Way of St. Lucie County. And today I have with me Allison Wigley from the Children's Home Society in Florida. How are you?
I'm great. Thank you for having us on, Kenrick.
Thanks for coming on. Now, before we get started, tell us a little bit about the Children's Home Society.
It's a big organization. We started in 1902 as an orphanage. As you can imagine,
Wow.
We've grown a lot since then. We're constantly developing and tailoring our programs to meet each community's needs, even though we have overarching programs for the state. We're really happy to work with United Way on a couple of our most major projects here on the Treasure Coast. That being our Wavecrest facility, which is an emergency shelter for children at risk that maybe just need a short break away from home. And then also our transitional living facility that is for kids that have aged out of the foster care program. They're 18 to 23. They're adults but they're not quite ready with all of their skills maybe to succeed and excel in life. You know, we've all had a hand up when we first started out, and we want to be there for those kids so that they have that right start.
Now, what communities do you serve?
We serve all of Florida. You know, here on the Treasure Coast, my area that I work in is Stewart to Vero Beach. And I grew up in Stewart. I'm learning a lot about Vero Beach. They are quite a community. And some of our most generous givers come from there. My office is in Vero at the Transitional Living Center. So I get to know some of these kids. I'll give you an example, you know, later in our conversation, but when I talk about these children, I know their faces and I know their stories, and it's such an amazing program to work with.
So why is this organization committed to the Treasure Coast?
Well, you know, because it's children, right? There some statistics that are absolutely unacceptable. 43% of families on the Treasure Coast struggle to afford basic needs. Here we are in this affluent community, and you just wouldn't expect 43% of families struggle. 23% of families live in poverty. And, you know, it's not even doctor's visit or flat tire, it's how do we get food tonight? So the stress that the parents feel and that is transferred onto the children, it creates this cycle that is so hard to break, but we have systems in place that we really feel work to correct these generational curses, if you will. And we've had some wonderful successes, and we get to see them, and it encourages us. We helped 260 families just through the two programs I mentioned.
Wow.
On the Treasure Coast last year. So our impact is great.
That's really great.
Yeah.
Now, what are you doing to cope with these statistics and help improve these statistics?
We're very lucky. We have, I'll tell you more about the programs. The Wave Crest Shelter, when a child goes into it, maybe they've gotten into the Department of Juvenile Justice. They end up at Wave Crest. While they're there for 2 weeks, they're immediately put into counseling. They're set up with a mentor. We work on anger management. We work on communication skills. The 2 weeks that they're there give their parents a time to breathe. They also work on education and counseling, and are given better skills to kind of cope with the problems of a teenager in general, let alone one that's had a rough go of it. And we stay with that care. We continue with the counseling throughout. We don't just go away after that 2 weeks is up. We find that if we can intervene ahead of time and stop the direction before a crisis happens, we're able to keep families together, stronger, and happier. And that's our goal. You know, we started as an orphanage, but our goal at CHS is to end foster care as we know it. Families do better when they're together. Sometimes it doesn't work out and children do go into foster care. They do age out. And that's why we have the Transitional Living Program. We're so lucky to be able to really mentor these children. I'll give you an example. We'll call her Jennifer. I have her face in my mind. Her mother passed away at 12 years old. Really tough. And her father loved her, supported her, but wasn't quite equipped to be a single parent. And even many years later, when we became involved, he hadn't really coped with the death of his wife. So Jennifer, smart, quiet, kind, ended up moving in with her aunt later on. She became almost a parent to her father, and she ended up moving in with an aunt who was taking care of an elderly grandmother. So now Jennifer has taken another parenting role as a child, and she was being taken out of school to go to doctor's appointments with the grandmother. She was being taken out of school for an abnormal amount of doctor visits for herself. And at 17 years old, she ended up in trouble with the police. 17 years old, it was boys and drinking. It happens. But instead of being arrested and getting a record, she was taken to Wavecrest. She spent her 2 weeks. She ended up in foster care. That was September of 2017. So December of 2017, she turned 18. On her 18th birthday, she moved into our transitional living program. And she went through counseling. She was going to high school here in Fort Pierce. She got a job at Panera Bread, living in our program. We have like a house mom, Cindy, who's wonderful, and kind of keeps them on the right track. She got the job with Panera Bread. She continued to go to high school. Her father ended up passing away that spring. She had one setback after another, but she stuck with it. Pardon.
That's okay.
And she graduated on time. She got a second job at IHOP. She's been with us for about a year, and next month she's leaving for college.
Wow.
We did it.
Yes,
You
yes.
know?
That is an amazing story.
And we do that with our community partners. You know, if it wasn't for, pardon, if it wasn't, you know, we get money from the state, but there are huge gaps. And it's the support of the people in our community that makes us able to support these children, and it grows a better community. We break that cycle, we're better as a whole.
That's great.
So that's what we do.
Yes, that's really powerful. Now, how does it make you feel to be a part of an organization that have such an impact on a community?
Well, look at me, I get tears in my eyes, right? I wasn't necessarily looking for a full-time job when this one came my way. I have a young baby of my own. And I sat down with another colleague of mine to tell her, oh, I thought this was part-time. It turns out I really can't do it. And after spending an hour with her and hearing about the multitude of programs that we have, besides the two that we've talked about today, at the end of that hour, I said, I want this job, and I'll do whatever it takes to get it. And I couldn't be more proud when I wake up in the morning to get up and go do, I'm a fundraiser. I throw parties, I look for sponsorships, and it's not difficult because of what we do. So my heart is full. I'm very, very happy to be OCHS.
That's great. Now, how can others get involved?
We need sponsorships. That's our big thing right now. We have 2 parties coming up on the Treasure Coast. March 14th in Vero Beach. It will be at Grand Harbor is hosting us. Our main sponsor is Celebration Point here in Fort Pierce. We're really happy to have them on board. And it's going to be a wine tasting and food spectacular. We're going to have like pop-up entertainment throughout the evening. You don't really know what to expect.
Yes.
So that's going to be a wonderful evening, March 14th in Vero Beach. Then March 28th in Stewart, Jeffrey Smith is hosting us. He's a world-renowned sculptor. If you've been to downtown Stewart, you've seen his work. He's hosting us at his working studio. He'll be working on a piece. Our VIP ticket holders and their guests will have an opportunity to meet with him and watch him work. We're working with the Treasure Coast Classic Car Club, have offered us 20 classic cars chauffeured for the evening. So with a VIP ticket, a car shows up at your house and takes you to the event. You're ushered down a red carpet, champagne and caviar and art for the evening.
Wow.
We raise as much money as we can and we send you home in that very nice classic car. So we want people to buy tickets to these events, and we need sponsorships to make these events raise the amount of money it takes to have these success stories.
Now, how did you get involved with such a great organization like this?
My mother. No, I've been involved with the Kiwanis Club of Stewart for many years. And in any community, the more you get involved, the more you're involved. And we know a lot of people that work for a lot of great organizations. And someone mentioned to my mom, hey, CHS is looking for this position, and I read it. It sounded part-time. Turns out it's not a part-time job. It is all of a full-time job. But I applied for it and went and met with Samantha, my colleague now, and was just really turned on to the mission of Children's Home Society. And so I took it, I ran with it, and here I am now.
Great. How important is Children's Home Society for the Treasure Coast?
Well, like I said before, great communities don't happen, they're built. It takes a village to raise a child. You know, like our friend Jennifer, these aren't bad kids. They're kids that have struggled through no fault of their own, through no fault of their parents in many cases. And they just need that hand up. And so when we build success stories like Jennifer's, and she comes back and she's a viable member of our community, and she turns around and has a family and volunteers and gets involved, it just expands, the butterfly effect, right?
Yes.
So it builds and builds and builds. And that's why it's so great to be involved with these kinds of things, and it feels good.
That's really good. Now, how can someone get in contact with Children's Home Society?
I'm going to go ahead and give you my cell phone number is 772-539-1989. And if you want to buy a ticket to an event or sponsor, contact me right away. You can also visit our website if you're just interested in the program.
Yes.
We're chsfl.org. And you can get a ton of information there. Like I said, it's a statewide organization.
Yes.
But right here on the Treasure Coast, we do a lot of good.
That's good. That's really good to hear. Well, thank you so much for coming on. I heard a lot of great things already, which is really good, and I can't wait to have you on next time.
Thank you so much.
Definitely. Thanks for watching.